Good evening, everyone. Switch on player. Well, as you may see the title, it's no Gage stream today, so it may even wonder why it's not being a Gage stream. Well, it's mainly that some of our friends aren't even is unfortunately unable to join in since Game Guy is at least one of my friends that's unable to join in the stream since he has a pretty bad storm in this area. So he preferred not want to be in the stream since the bad storm could you never know exactly if it would eventually cause a blackout or anything. And yeah, so that's just one of the things. And also the reason also I um do the stream a bit later than usual. It's about the same thing. Mighty Sunset. Hello. Yeah, so I normally don't stream it start streaming at this particular time. I usually stream around, usually about for my time, it's about then 9 p.m. So yeah, I wasn't planning to do this occasional stream, but since most of my friends aren't able to join in, Malachite, I don't know if he is even home at the moment. Kobo is usually um, either is out with his mom or his grandmother for to a restaurant or something. Lord, we haven't seen him in a stream in a quite a while though. Um, there isn't even another of my friends, Cody Darkhog. Well, he hasn't been in my stream much lately either. Due to the fact that for one particular reason is that he were in an accident that not that long ago. He it was a pretty bad accident. He um he was actually out for a walk. I think he was going. I believe Cody was on his way to this convenience store in the area when he lived, and this car was just coming towards him, and he was on the sidewalk, and he was hit by the car, and he was taken to the hospital, but neither me or my other friends had even weren't even aware of this. So I was like, what? Because he is part of this uh, server on Discord, and which I am also part of. I usually don't even much interaction in that particular group though, in that server. But I learned that my friend Cody was in an accident. I mean, he was just on the sidewalk on the way to a convenience store when a car hit him. He was pretty bad. He had some broken ribs, and from what I understand, in the conversation in the server, he was paralyzed on the half side of his body. But it turns out it wasn't even that the case. But he was eventually able to leave the hospital eventually after about a week or so. I mean, being hit by a car, it's one of the worst things that many people don't want to even be experienced. Especially if you're just walking in the sidewalk and out for a walk or something. But at least Cody was safe and it was in bad condition. And I would be surprised that he was a bit scared after he was hit by the car. But Cody was able to leave the hospital after about a week or so, I think. I mean, I heard that he was paralyzed half side of his left side of his body. I was like, when I first saw that, I was like, whoa, that is just insane. But it turns out that he wasn't even at all. It is that part of us is even true, but still, I was just glad that he was, well, happy that he's okay. I mean, I had never been in any car accident. I had none of my family had even been anyone either like that. So I don't even know how to even react because neither me or my other friends wasn't even aware that Cody had been in the accident because we were even though he is in one DM in one main group that we made, and even though he's part of it, but he was in the hospital, but we weren't even aware he was even there. Even though when he's online, he usually don't even talk to us in there or something. And I was like, whoa. I was like, Cody, if you're able to, I mean, even if he was able to communicate with this server that even I am part of, he couldn't at least men sent us a message in a group chat that he is with along with his friends, just telling us what happened. Because, like I said, neither me or my other friends wasn't even aware that Cody were in this accident. Because when I mentioned in the group chat, they were shocked to learn that Cody was in this particular disaster or this accident of being hit by a car. I mean, can even you imagine? I mean, if even she's a close friend of yours and you weren't even informed or even being told either to be informed or even you were being unaware that you had a friend and one day, boom, hit by a car or something and in the hospital. I wasn't even aware of it. Not even Game Guy, not even Malachite. But I was the one who found out just by random chance by just going to that server when he's part of. And I saw the communication for some other members in that server talking about it. And I was like, what the heck happened? But it's a good thing that Cody did manage to survive from that accident. But next time, he may not even be as lucky. Sometimes people don't have the same luck again. Though, don't talking about it like for accident, there is one kind of accident that's surprising me, and I am still surprised that he even managed to survive that. But this man, he survived by hit was struck by lightning 7 times. Not in all at once though, but over years. But after 7 times, he couldn't stand anymore, so he used his rifle and cut his life short. And yeah, that was just one lady who was just asleep had also one of the most injurious struggle like with luck or unfortunate, but also very much surprising. She was in her bed and suddenly something fell through the roof and hit her side of her body. And what was it? In fact, it was a meteorite who impacted side of her body, and that's like only one known case of it. But she was actually pretty much still alive. That's whoa. Though there had even been another few cases that I even read about self combustion or human combustion, like humans that literally burst into flames. But there was one case was this woman who sat in an armchair in her own home, and she burst into flames of out of the blue in her own apartment. But the thing is, there were no heat source, like no open fireplace nearby. There was no like a radiator on the wall. There was no like candles next to her. Nothing. She was even smoking. Nothing. And she just burst up in flames. But the only thing is, that was left of her was just ash. But she was wearing shoes, and only her feet were still intact in those shoes. So it's just If you heard stories about human self combustion, like bursting into flames, all that, well, it's not like impossible. But the main cause of that, no one knows. No one knows exactly what makes people just burst into flames. The first time I heard about this, I actually had a book about some strange, strange occurrence. But this, I don't have the book anymore. I got rid of it years ago. I think it was like 14, 15 maybe when I read it. It was a pretty old book anyways. I think it was, I think maybe from the I don't know, 80s, 90s, I believe. But yeah, it was a pretty old book. But yeah, that was a pretty interesting case. What's up, Mr. Troller? Troller?
Mm. Oh, so good. Uh, I mean, it is true. Some people have chances of surviving natural disasters. I mean, even if they end up with broken bones, like say an avalanche, for example, that is
Yeah.
one type of natural disaster that can really break a bone if it impacts hard into your back.
hmm Yeah, and as you have may seen, like in all cartoons, where you're having a Saint Bernard having those small container around their neck that contain whiskey or cognac or that something, that is just a myth. They don't even carry that at all. But they do in fact using Saint Bernards in the Alps and other part of the world in the world. Well, especially in the Alps where they having this big uh, ski resorts because Saint Bernards are very good for that. Not only because of that, not just because they use a dog, but they're made for that. Their big fur is able to handle the cold, and also of course as many dogs that smell. They can sense if
Mm,
a human being buried uh, under a few feet of snow. And even if the artifact, but as many other dogs, like especially within police force, that they're
uh,
using people are using German Shepherd in order to as a protections, like Hudson and Rex series from Canada, something like that. And they've been using beagles, using golden retrievers at the airports. In fact, the first dog that was ever put in service in the airport in the US that's searching for drugs, but it was actually, I believe it was in 1973. And then there was like, dogs has been man's best friend for a very long time. And the earliest signs of human using dogs is in Asia, South Asia. And I believe this earliest, oldest known records is 30,000 BC.
mhm.
And it is
I mean,
impressive.
I mean, there is actually an episode of Storm Stories where that had called a rare. I think it was late or rare November tornadoes. Um, and this one took place. I think in either Illinois or Iowa, and uh, this and this twister was actually recorded by a kid who had survived a tornado when who actually survived a tornado when he was 5 years old, um and was recording this one. It started moving slow as like a slow moving dust devil dust cloud type of twister, but then it started picking up speed and gaining strength, and it turned into an a rare November F2 monster, and it actually missed this kid's house and he actually went outside as it was passing right behind it, and his reaction in a loud voice was, "Oh my god!" because it was that close to him. And a few blocks over, um, this woman who worked as a hospital nurse was actually in her bed sleeping, and she could hear what sounded like thunder outside, but the noise kept getting louder and louder. And she was actually still in her bed when the twister hit her house. And she fell to the ground, and a dresser landed on top of her.
Damn, that's yeah. I mean, I know for a fact that hurricanes are, or even tornadoes aren't something to just play around with.
I mean,
But if the
if you're
as
brave enough
you,
to if you're brave enough to stand outside and watch it and record it, make sure you're at a good distance.
mm-hmm,
I
I,
mean,
but like,
like you saw yesterday after the stream when I showed that Twister video with Tim Baker, that was pure luck. Less than 100 feet from him, it missed him. It completely going over top of him.
yeah. I mean, I am surprised that he even survived from that, and I am even surprised that he, continued to be doing that kind of thing. And but I think even if even if he's still doing that, and at least he learned not to approach in such closer next time, because even if he had one chance one time when he survived by luck, I don't think he would even push himself too much for many times, because next time he may not even have the same luck.
I
Because a
mean,
tornado aren't something that they should even take it lightly, especially an F5 tornado. Luckily for me, since my country even have uh, not even perhaps I think the closest to is a tornado that in strength is probably an F1, not even F5.
I
Because
mean,
if
I
that
did ask.
happened,
I did ask what type of water spouts are a common thing on your country's coastline.
well, the coastline maybe, but deeper into the country, it's no, it's just not like that. I'm not been aware about it, but I have seen most of them as closer tornado, which is also called dust devils, but they aren't even that big. They're usually only a few feet tall, but they're even that strong enough.
I
They may
mean,
be strong. Most of them
go
are
ahead.
strong enough to just. Most of them are just strong enough to just pick up plastic bag or papers, but not even a full-grown cat or anything. Most of those dust devils here are even that strong enough.
I mean, another my the I've watched storm stories for a good while. The most devastating one that I've ever heard and watched was the 1967 Belvedere, Illinois tornado that struck a high school as kids were exiting it. And it was an F4.
Whoa. Um,
Yeah. The what happened in one of the interviews, unless you want to see it for yourself, I do recommend you go watch it. You can find the episode on YouTube. It's called After School Tornado. Um, but what happened was this man was who was a student at the time. He had actually asked his one of his teachers if he could were like to shut the window because it was starting to storm, and the teacher joked about, "Oh, I'll leave it open. You know how how these tornadoes things can be." And then, as they were as kids were starting to exit, the fire drill actually sounded, and they were as trained like they should be. They started to exit it, and as this kid exited his classroom, from what he said in the interview, there was another teacher in the hallway that was running towards them and yelling, "It's a tornado! It's a tornado!" And this kid managed to run with him downstairs along with a few others, but dozens of kids were already exiting the school to get on the buses when the tornado hit.
Wow. I just looked up the how fast an F5 tornado goes for. It's pretty fast. It goes from between 261 to 318 miles per hour.
Damn.
So imagine just that with F5. But if there were a tornado that's like a double, like an F10, that would be like a double of that. So imagine those storms on the like in the red spot on Jupiter. That's
That that red
that would
spot
be.
could either be an F50 or an F10, depending on its wind speed.
You know what? I'm gonna look that up. Uh, it's between 270 to 425 miles per hour. So
So
that's
it's an
it's base.
F6 on base level.
Uh, I had to say between F6 and X7, F7 or like that. But yeah, there's pretty much. But okay, well that's just on Jupiter. But there is the one dark dark spot on, say,
Nept-
Neptune, and
yeah, yeah, and I know Neptune has some pretty good wind speeds.
uh, 1,500 miles per hour.
Oh shit, that's F10 or F11.
Um, let's see. Okay, there is one exoplanet that has, which I know for a fact is what they had, where it's raining glass sideways, not up and down as that's on Earth, but sideways. But fastest wind speed. I did read about it some a while back. Holy shit! This is
You're not gonna believe this, but I just asked Google what was the highest wind speed to ever be recorded on Neptune. It was up to 1,500 mph.
dude. You may be surprised, but on the exoplanet WASP 1227b, it is a has the highest speed so far. Let's see here. 33,000 kilometers per hour, but in there it would be no way, no way. Come on, where are you? What? Dang it, where are you? Come on, really? Oh, here we go. It would have been as equal 33,000 kilometers per hour is equal to 20,505 miles per hour.
If
That is like,
we were living on that planet, we'd be in a hell of a lot of trouble. Even if some
yeah.
people want to say, we love it here.
Wait, let's go see. Wind speed, just in case if that is true, was 27B. Just okay. It is basically 20,505, and that's and and like I said, it rained. Not okay. It's not particularly it rained glass. That's the same type of glass as we are familiar with, but it's very raining silicate particles. That's basically it's close to glass. But on this planet, it rains glass sideways in a speed of wind of 20,500 miles per hour sideways. So, yeah, that is. If you even were on the planet, you would have been shredded to pieces unless you lived. I mean, you would even. Though, the question is, if that the same, if that they have if this wind speed is constant, non-stop on this planet, or if it's just or if it's just like on Earth, it is a period of breaks between each, or if this or does the wind keep blowing on circling on the planet non-stop, 24/7 without any break. If that would have been the case, if this was a planet that is, let's say, a rocky planet like Earth, yeah, that planet may never be as suitable for colony. That's for certain of it. Because first, even if you would have been building a colony, the beam may actually be underground because there is no way for anyone to even be building maybe like those spherical domes on the surface. Because if you do, that dome may have to be thick in order to withstand the wind and the silicate rain.
Mm,
Because on Earth, it's just like usually imagine like an F5 tornado and this wind speed,
mm.
or even a hurricane.
You
So
know,
imagine, so that for a big one on that planet,
you know,
yeah, for
there was a clip from an episode of either Most Daring or Most Shocking that was like a scene of the Wizard of Oz. This F5 Twister was worn right through a town. I think it was in Kansas or Nebraska. It was one of the two. And it literally actually picked up a whole house off of its foundation and tore it up as it was going up into the funnel.
damn, that's
Oh,
just
it was a big, good sized house too. It I think it looked like some kind of cottage, or I think it may have also been could have been a craftsman, but it was a good sized house. A
though
whole house off the foundation.
they also think about this. If you ever seen Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits, that type of house that they had in the ground like that, I wondered that wouldn't even be much. Wouldn't be much of being. They would be more safer since I mean it's just like built in a hill, so it wouldn't be much of any risk of being picked up or anything. But it still is in that sense is safe. But at the same time, it also you know in when there's a strong winds, when any side of any particular item made of stone or metal or even just wood, anything can break through the door or or the windows. At least like in Family Guy, the early seasons, there was this bad storm passing through. I think it was like the storm of the century, and or less the storm of the decade or something. When the day after, they saw the Griffin family saw this piece of uh, a fence that was has been thrown or like if there's like it's like you playing dart, it's like
Mhm.
if someone had thrown one of those pieces of fence right through a tree, and that piece of uh, let me say that fence post had been it didn't literally pass through halfway through the tree, even though it was a cartoon. But even though there's a cartoon, but that can happen in real life. Just imagine, wind speed is nothing to play around with. If you really are living in a places where, like in the US, like say along the coastline, like say Florida or west on the California, or even the or or in case of up to East Coast like New York or even those states, sort of that, and especially in the hurricane season, yeah,
Mhm.
it's no joke. I mean, I seen I seen some video people's uh, old news recordings for an upcoming hurricane where people in Florida literally board up their windows. And it's that those are just a plywood, and I was like,
Mhm.
and those boards aren't even that thick, and like You may think that would be enough to protect your home from any hurricane. Well, that depends on, of course, how strong the hurricane winds are, and yeah, it's just usually the best place to be safer from a hurricane or storm like that, or even tornado, is usually be living in a like a bunker or something. It's just
I mean, there are some amazing tornado videos I have seen. There is a YouTube channel, and I want to give a shout to this channel. It's called Underworld, and it actually shows top 10 or whatnot moments, like from police chases to lightning strikes to tornadoes or somewhat storm moments. And one tornado that I saw in one of these videos, it actually tore up some kind of garden center or some like equipment store building, and the whole thing was recorded from a car that was in the building's parking lot. This twister went in front of this car, actually ripped this whole big old building to shreds. And while I was watching it do this, there was a pickup truck just to the right of the dash cam, and this twister actually blew out the rear window on that truck. And I was like, "Damn! Thank goodness there's
yeah.
no one inside that."
Can you even imagine? Like, okay, I don't even know how much if we used to live
And
in
and what
part of the state.
what's 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 crazier, Swedish? This twister, from what I heard, was an F3.
That's a strong one. Yeah, but can you even imagine like your middle of the morning, like early morning, say can be like say 6 to 8 in the morning, when suddenly the sirens goes off and like what the, and you understand, and you may first be groggy, like what is that sound, and then when you actually listen closely, oh shit, that's this tornado siren. I mean, where I live, and this is not only because for I live, but this is also around the whole Sweden. In many cities, small towns, and villages, they have these sirens put up on different places, like locations, usually on high buildings or something, mostly to fact. But this is not even tornado sirens, but they are like bomb warning sirens. But they only testing those sirens like a few times a year. It's usually because they should maintain that they're working, and also that people should be aware. And there's usually, well, the thing is, they are they're loud.
Mm,
So I think they are the closest thing to this closest to like a tornado siren. Oh, I remember I did post that short of the siren I found from on YouTube. The first with the siren, the warning siren, the tornado, is suddenly it cut off, and then play SpongeBob. I was like, someone literally had hacked into a siren and played SpongeBob music in it. I was like,
that would make it with think we're underwater. But but another in thing about this YouTube channel was it also showed things like also other weather occurrences like water spouts, even trees falling over during like wind or big rainstorms. Um, Even if you train videos, one train video, the narrator described as like some whirlwind snow monster roaring through the countryside. It was um actually captured by a train enthusiast who was on a break, and he was watching a Canadian National Railroad train approaching him with a big plow on the front, and the snow was covering the whole thing. It looked like some big snow wind monster coming right at him. But when it got to the crossing, it actually hit a chunk of big snow, and it covered this enthusiast in snow, and thankfully he survived taking the blow.
Wow.
And I mean, that is okay to watch trains, but I wouldn't have stood that close to the crossing just for the record. Um, but you know, sidetracking to most daring, there were lots of clips that would make you go wow, um, and some that would make you go, oh, dear lord. Um, and you want to talk about tornadoes? One tornado video that comes to mind was from an episode called Chimera Chaos, and this tornado was ripping through the countryside in southern Poland. I don't know what level of twister it was, but there was a packed bus full of people, including members of a rock band tour that had just got done finishing a concert, and they were inside this bus when the twister touched down right next to this bus and flipped it like a tin can, and everyone on that bus survived.
Yeah. Okay.
And I like the and sorry, but one thing I do like with the narrator was a sense of humor, when because he said at the end of the clip he goes, "When Mother Nature took them on a whirlwind tour." I like I hear I'm like, really? You had to bring that humor into it?
Hmm. But if you think about it, since F5 is the strongest tornado that has been basically recorded on Earth, and it had to be a tornado for that. I mean, could you imagine? The only like say if it was like in uh, Wizard of Oz, that tornado when you see that old lady still riding a bike in a tornado. Yeah, so but basically a tornado in F5 is capable of lifting bikes, horse wagons, maybe a smaller car, maybe even a small bus. But the only vehicle a tornado, despite that even in it, I don't believe the only thing that might actually be able to lift this particular vehicle, there had to be maybe an F, not even F10, not even F100. I believe maybe as F1000 or perhaps even F1 million would be even perhaps capable to lift it. And that is a tank. Considering those war tanks are so heavy. So, and normally, I know, okay, if you remember from Day After Tomorrow, those tornadoes that impact Los Angeles and then Hollywood sign, even those combined would even be able to lift it, even a tank, not perhaps, not even like 10 feet up above the ground, but if they would be strong enough, they might even be, maybe just flip them up and just maybe pick up a tank just about maybe just a few inches or something, but they'll be able to move, lift one, and carrying it away if it was weighed nothing. That tornado would have been huge, enormously strong, like maybe F1 billion or perhaps more,
I
because an
mean
F5 is not capable of that. You
I
can
mean, you
ride a tank. You can like riding a tank through a tornado without any problem. You can even sit in one without even feeling any scared because you're pretty much safe in one. You're pretty practically safe from even there are many things to bring front on you because those are strong enough and thick metal. They can since tanks are usually designed for being withstand grenades, bullets, so you can pretty much sit in a tank and perhaps have cameras outside and recording middle of the tornado. But they don't even usually go fast, but at least you can be safe. Though
not unless
they
if not unless their tank gets flipped by, like, say, the twister throwing a tanker truck into it.
true, but considering that the tank is usually so much in a heavy and it will require a certain amount of strength, even from a force by something thrown outside of it, because even a normal personal car may not even be able to hit, even though it may hit that may feel a large bump to it, but not maybe strong enough to flip a tank over, because it had to be something very strong, very heavy in order to flip a tank. Considering how much they weight, well, considering there are different models, the different versions of tanks, that some may have lesser weight, others may have also very much heavier weight. But considering how much a tank weighs, considering the big they are, and how much thick the armor is, so practically saying, they would be more practical to be used if you want to be a storm chaser. But the bit more positive is that you couldn't have say safety glass outside and have cameras recording the storm while the city inside it. So in a practical, you'll be perfectly safe. But the only side effect is that the only negative is they don't even go as fast. You can literally you can perhaps outrun some tanks, and they don't even, like I said, they usually don't. Some tanks they don't even have much a speed to it due to the fact that how much they weight. They didn't even go as fast, but it didn't even care because if you're in the middle of a tornado, you can like drive through one and you still be able to record most of the things outside. And most of the things that have been thrown at you is perfectly harmless because most items that you've been thrown, because let's say this, if you have um, a metal sword or something and you throw it as much as fast as you can and against an armed tank, it will probably make a scratch, but not even a dent, not even penetrate. So basically, a tank would have been a perfect vehicle for a storm chaser to be searching for passing through a storm. Even though they don't even usually don't go so fast, they are practically safe to be driving. But they come across one of those like if you come across a tank of those, you can actually buy a tank from the army, especially those that have been decommissioned. The only thing that you may have to be another cut off the turret so that you can be using that for firing anymore. And yeah, so basically, like it's yeah, I mean, you must have at least agree that a tank or at least an armored vehicle would be the most safest vehicle for be using for storm chaser. At least even if you have a, maybe maybe okay, maybe not an actual tank, but if you had a van and that has and it's the size of the van being replaced with just from armed, maybe a bit thicker armor outside and around it, so you can be literally be driving through a storm without being worrying about the windshield or even the size of it would be penetrated by any debris around it. At least that type of vehicle would have been the most practical and safest option if you want to be a storm chaser, if you want to pass through an actual tornado, even if an F5 or perhaps an F10 tornado, because practically tornadoes are really tank tanks are usually are quite heavy, and it will require a certain amount of wind speed in order to knock over them.
But
I'm just saying though.
you want to talk about driving through a twister? One of the videos from Underworld during this twister video I watched actually had a actually was recorded on like a highway camera, and it watched a twister pass over it from the left to the right going into a field. A car just barely avoided getting sucked up into it, driving past the camera. Then a tractor trailer came into view, slowed down as the twister passed in front of them. A few seconds later, a full loaded tanker truck drove right past the semi and drove right into the storm to and gunned it right through the twister to make his delivery. I'm like, you brave sob,
I mean,
because this
considering
twister was still next to the highway when he drove into it.
I mean, considering that, like I said, a tank is practically the best, safest option, or even an armed vehicle like that is the best option for if you want to drive through a tornado without being harmed. Because a normal car would be useless. They can easily either being flipped over, or something can be hit in the windshield, or even the side windows, and so yeah, it's pretty much practically useless. But an armed vehicle like a bank transport or even a tank would be the safest option because they are usually heavy enough to withstand some of the wind speed. Sure, you may feel a bit bumpy, or even the car may move side to side from through the wind, but at least you'll be safer. The
I
only
mean, I mean,
a plane or a helicopter is also practically useless in a twister or even an F5 tornado. I mean, that is just not an option.
I mean, one. It, I believe I've mentioned this show to you before. The show "You Live in a What." This one couple or family actually made an underground uh t- bunker tunnel system into a home, and they could actually feel and hear tornadoes going over top of them, and nothing would be damaged to their home.
I think I do think I actually have seen a family that owns a home, at least not a normal house, but it was in a part of basically like an inside a hill. They had turned into like a bunker. It's like world end type of bunker, like a fallout shelter. It has blast doors. It had basically self-sufficient with water supply, food supply. It has bedrooms and even had a small, like a normal. It was like basically a normal home, just underground. Like there were even some tunnels that are connected to some other facilities, like an underground garage. Even had a gun supply, an armory, and 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 even had a normal. And yeah, I also okay. I saw this. Okay, this was on actual Facebook, but this was like an actual. This was more like a hand drawn cartoon. There was like there was a fake dryer, and behind it was like a tunnel, and it was lit underground to only one type of just one big room, and where it's like a, a bed, a TV on the wall, like kind of like a kind of like a maybe not like a fallout shelter or anything, but more like escape room where you can escape from the daily bases, something like that. But that's kind of things is cool, but also expensive. Especially if you want to build like a fallout shelter in a behind your home, like in a right in the dirt. Okay, if you want to be building that, you may have to build it so either it can withstand bombs, earthquakes, because if you don't, yeah, you're screwed. No matter how much you do that. And the Burger actually one hotel. I don't remember exactly which name of it in the US. It had one secret compartment, or at least a secret wall, led to an American top secret government fallout shelter. But nowadays it is decommissioned, and now it is public knowledge. And it's like I believe it the hotel. If you have seen the hotel from Shining, it kind of looks like that type of hotel, but it was just normal. It wasn't a normal hotel open to the public, but the only room that was, or at least part of it, was a fallout shelter only for top officials from the U.S. government.
Mm.
And I was like, that was impressive. For most of the, I mean, there are many, like say the Rockies or perhaps even the Grand Canyon would have been a suitable place if you want to build a fallout shelter for anything. I mean, there is even a secret room in one of the heads of around Mount Rushmore, which is, I mean, it's not like it's just like a top secret. I mean, people probably being aware of what it is, but it's not like open to the public. And there is even an underground uh, archive in Mount Rushmore also, and where they store most of the uh, national treasures, artifacts, documents, in case if there was some natural disaster or anything. But yeah, it's just there is actually one thing I want to curious. Has your state ever suffered from an earthquake before?
Um, I would say yes because a few years ago, when I was several years ago, when I was still attending my online Michigan Connections Academy school, um, I think an earthquake struck Kalamazoo in the southwest corner, and I actually felt it a little bit, but nothing major was damaged around here.
Huh. According to this, it has only been 34 earthquakes in the state from 1872 to 1967.
Mm,
Well, it's, but there's a fault. There is apparently a fault line in through that runs through Michigan, in the upper
mm,
peninsula of Michigan.
uh,
I believe around Jacobsville, Sandstone, or something. But
but
my
but
country, unfortunately, also suffered from earthquakes, but not the same.
I mean, the show you live in a what is full of wonderful house places that were turned into houses. I mean, you had a service repair all shop that was turned into a home, an organ factory, a factory that makes the organ musical instrument. Firehouses were turned into a house. Bakeries were turned into homes. Schoolhouses, um, surprisingly, churches, windmills as well. Um, what else? I know. What am I missing? A
Bowling
Coca
alleys?
Cola, a Coca Cola factory was turned into a house. Um, in Tennessee, barns were turned into home. A horse carriage, stable was turned into a home. Um, a, even a trash dumpster was turned into a home. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
literally a big size waste management green trash dumpster, garbage dumpster was turned into a home.
Hmm.
On that show, I was like, "What? For real, dude?" Um,
I mean, people use it. People even turn old ship containers into homes.
I have seen that.
Okay,
there was
have you
also a
seen?
couple.
In England, what they don't those rivers, that those river boats?
I I think I've
People are turning
seen.
homes. They are also being some of them also turned into like an actual home, and that I tell you, that's impressive. Considering
I've
how
se-
low they are, but they're beautiful.
I've even seen people turn buses into homes
Oh, dude. Okay.
and 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 train cabooses.
Hmm. And speaking of buses, um, okay, I hadn't even seen it though, but my dad told me years ago that there was this couple, and the man bought this big, like a almost like a double deck bus, and turned it into an actual home. Like maybe not an actual permanent home for more like a if you know like a if you're like a if you have a trailer connected to the car, but it can like that. But the thing is, he also made in a the the rear end of the bus to like a small garage, and he parked a small car in it, and that was pretty cool. I never saw it though, but it sounds cool. That nowadays, base because now people can turn almost anything to like an actual home, like buses, train cars. Um,
I mean, I want to
well,
turn like an actual train into a house. I actually had a vision of turning an actual diesel engine into a home, and just have like a nice little sized kitchen, nice little sized area for with a TV and um a, a little area for me gaming a little bit. Um, but it would be some hopefully a good project for the future. But because I would like to see that. Um, a train station was turned into a home. I remember that. Um, and aside from the train station, this man actually turned a full train of like a diesel engine and four cars into a home.
can you even imagine if someone were turning a limousine to like a home?
No, I could not visit that.
Oh, speaking of that, I saw a list. I saw this old Guinness World Record book. This one was from '96 or 90. But it was in mid to late '90s. There was this. Was like this one was. I think at least it was this one at the time was a record. It was come on. It was
Uh,
98 feet long and had a jacuzzi at the near end of it, and even had um, I think there was even one that had a helicopter pad, landing pad on it.
Damn. Um, did you know from the TV series Trick My Truck, there was only one truck that was turned into a house with a kitchen in it.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Oh,
look up on Google Images, Trick My Trucks, Bonnie and Clyde, because that was the
damn,
biggest truck they ever made. That's the name of it.
damn. I mean, can you even? I mean, I've seen people turning most anything to basically a home, like buses, cars. Okay, cars maybe. That depend. Actually, get this. I saw this in Japan. They have this Ferris wheel, and those. If you've seen the Eye of London, it's similar to that, but in Japan, those compartments are turned into that you can rent as a home. It has a small kitchen plat that you can like as make as like a stove. And I mean, my parents told me that there's even a apartment in Stockholm that was pretty much small. I think it's even smaller than my place, but it basically had two lack of things: no kitchen, no bathroom. Like there was like really small. They were maybe big enough for a small bed, but okay, you can probably buy. Okay, if you know when you're camping, you can have those like a plate, a kitchen stove on it, like just a small plate on, just two plates on. That can you probably use as for kitchen, but there's like no bathroom, like no shower, no toilet, and it was like, okay, if you were living, that was, I think it was worth being up for market. If I remember, it was either between 5 to 10 million. And it was like small apartment for that, no bathroom, like no kitchen, and you supposedly like I find like, and you had to stay there like an apartment, like a permanent home. I think my mom said maybe this is like meant for an actual permanent staying, like 24/7, more like say if you're miss the train or something, and you it's more like you staying for a night, but you own it. It's like a friend of mine who also had a cousin who bought an apartment in Stockholm for 6.2 million, not in dollars, but it was like almost 6.5 million, and and they even had, I think the rent was uh, 7, 8 thousand. So buying an apartment for nearly 6.5 million, it's like I would never live in Stockholm. Not because I don't even like the city itself. It's just the rent. It's insane. And if you're just buying a place, it's insane. You don't really get to find an apartment like that,
Mhm.
even the center. In you have to expecting maybe it's at least a few million for that, even just a small apartment, even just a two bedrooms apartment. Just saying, it's basically the same thing as for any major city like New York, Washington, perhaps even Denver, or even Detroit or San Francisco. Any major city, even in the middle of the downtown, just expecting apartment price can be, even just if you're just renting it or just buying it, the price will be expensive. Trust me, you really don't want to do that. This place where I live, it is basically just a two-room apartment. It's the rent, I think it's like what, 5 or 6 thousand worth or something. So at least, and I had a lease on it for 2 years, so I'm gonna live here for 2 years. But yeah, but yeah, my one of my friends, like I said, my friend who told me his cousin bought this house apartment in Stockholm for nearly 6.5 million. I was like, what? The same thing is for, I saw this in my hometown. This they built this football stadium, a soccer field. They had like four structure buildings in each corner as apartments. You can actually own those. They sold one for 3 million, and the rent was between 7 to 7.5 thousand. I was like, what? You had to be insane. My
I
brother
mean,
probably would. My brother will probably live there, but yeah, me, no
I mean,
ways.
you mentioned London a little bit ago. There was one, there was surprisingly, okay. You've heard of the King's Cross train station?
Mm-hmm.
There
I
was
heard of it.
actually, there is a clock tower that was built and is part of that station, and there is actually a man living inside that clock tower. He
Really?
turned he turned some a part of that clock tower into his home.
Well, it's similar to even like an Eiffel Tower. There's a that, okay, not secret, but there is, at the time at least, was a secret room in the top of the tower. And it was literally turned into this apartment. You may think Eiffel, who built it, lived there. He didn't. He rented it out. I believe.
I mean, he could turn it to his place while he was in the midst of still building it, so he could at least get some rest and not have to worry about any disturbance of
Yeah,
noise.
yeah. I believe that he, at the time when he was still alive, he only took certain people up there, like politicians or at least famous people at the time. I believe, if I remember right, was either Nikola Tesla or Thomas
Nikola Tesla.
Edison. Yeah, him or Edison. Thomas Edison was up there in for a visit. Now you can actually, if I remember, that you can either rent an apartment for for the day, and it's very much that it looks very similar at this when he built it, when it decorated. It hasn't even changed much, but it also that this room or this small room slash apartment in Eiffel Tower, you can actually, even they had tours. Like you can get a guided
Mhm.
tour up there, and get this. Even when Adolf Hitler invaded France in the war, he wanted to demolish the entire Eiffel Tower from bottom. But the only thing that saved the tower from being demolished was actually the French resistance. They sabotaged the elevators. They was in fact installed elevators in that time, but they sabotaged. And Hitler, who visited Paris at the time, he wanted to go up in the tower up at the top, but since the resistance has sabotaged the tower, the elevators, he refused to even use the stairs. But I mean, can you blame them? I mean, it's very pretty much tall building, but that alone, the act of the sabotage the French resistance did. Oh yeah, wait, Coriolanus is here. Unless it is him. Yep, it is. So they saved the tower, the iconic French tower, from being
Eiffel.
destroyed. Yeah, they saved the tower from being destroyed by just sabotaging the elevators. I mean, can
Yeah.
you? Uh, okay,
It,
uh, okay. Listen from this. If Hitler would have won the war, and if he managed to take over the U.S., can you even imagine what he would have done to some of the iconic monuments like Mount Rushmore? He more likely would have removed the faces with some, perhaps with himself and with some other iconic German politicians on it, or even perhaps destroyed the whole thing altogether. But Hitler was pretty bad. So, I mean, I wasn't even aware that he wanted to destroy the iconic Eiffel Tower. But I also learned years before then that there was a secret apartment up there. But now it's not even secret. Now can you get a guided tour up there? I was like,
and
but there is one. But
there
there's
is
one
even a
thing.
restaurant up there.
Yeah, they even turned the lower part of it into an ice rink in the winter. But can you since okay, it depends on if you're on or fear of heights, but can you imagine being on top of Eiffel Tower, a very top? What a view it will have, especially in the evenings when they're dark with the lights around, even in the summer or in the winter. But could you even imagine standing on top of Eiffel Tower in the night when all the lights around it? I mean, what a view!
I
It's the
mean,
same thing it's the same thing if you're standing on the uh,
oh, whoa,
Empire State.
Cody.
That is a badass Beyblade. Look at looks like a sword kind. I don't know.
I almost thought that was like I almost forgive me, Cody, but I almost thought that was a monkey wrench. Okay.
That's a big, yeah, that's a Beyblade launcher. Even I know
Mm,
that.
yeah. But you want to talk the Eiffel Tower? There is actually a clip from America's Funniest Home Videos when Tom Bergeron was hosting. This group of friends took a paper airplane to the top of the tower and they threw it. And they actually recorded its entire flight path and watched it land on a road in a suburb and then zoomed out and goes, and they're like, it landed right there, and we're all the way up here as the camera zooming back to how far it went.
Wow. But yeah, but like I said, she's just standing on the top of the tower. What a view! But can you even imagine Empire State Building on top of that? Because that was in fact at one point the tallest building, not only in the U.S. but also in the world at the time, and also Statue of Liberty. Standing on, if you're, I don't know if you're even allowed to be uh, in the in the arm where the flame is. That's on top. I mean, could you even imagine standing there, had a view at night to see of the New York and all, And now, as the French politician really wants that the U.S. should return the statue back to France, well, in a way, they probably should. But at the same time, why should they do it? Because it was a gift to US and then some more celebration 100 years anniversary for US independence. But but I understand at least from the one point of view from this politician that he really wants that they should deliver back to France. Mostly the fact about how Trump's administration have been going on for the past month or so. I mean, mostly the tariffs that has been the prices of things, and I mean from that I understand at least how the French people should think that they should bring it back to them. After all, they were the one who built it in the first place. But but at the same time, it was a gift, and I don't even think even though it is now U.S. property, I don't even know if even France can even claim it back to them. I mean, sure they built it, but here's another thing: the railroad in the U.S. Most of this railroad was built in the 1800s. Most of the workers was uh, in the past Asian people, like Chinese or Japanese, who helped to build the railroad. So since they were the ones who mainly constructed the railroad for them, for America. So if if now that China also been affected by all those tariffs, should the Chinese people being able to put a claim on those railroads? Like, yeah, our people build it, so we should own them. That doesn't work. But I mean, you could even imagine if that would have been the case, that would have been like huge problem, depending on how much section that they
I
can
mean,
claim. But the
could you?
also thing is, but they had to prove, of course, how much of the railroad that is built by the Chinese people, or is the Chinese immigrants.
I mean, could you
They had to
imagine if
prove that.
could you imagine if every railroad here in the United States formed into one as the United States Railroad of America?
Hmm. You know, speaking of that,
That
I
would be good because all the railroads and all trains, steam and diesel, would be allowed to go to any state possible there was.
I seen this map of the railroad of both U.S. and of Europe. The network is compared to the map of U.S. and Europe's railroad. Europe's are looking a complete mess, like it goes haywire. But mainly in the U.S., it doesn't even use the main lines are just I think it's like only crossing from one, like say from New York side, from the East Coast all the way along the border or Canada border to the West Coast, like to Washington State, and there is from along the coast of California all the way to from through Texas and back to the east side. There is even okay. There had been proposed a building replacing a railroad from LA to San Francisco, and that those trains were being built in so-called hyperloops. They will be in complete air, like a being complete vacuum, and the travel speed normally from if you take normal from train from LA to San Francisco would take I think that I believe the travel is 4 to 6 hours, but in a hyperloop would make the travel um, I believe is like I said, I believe it's between 6 to 8 hours. I believe from between LA and San Francisco with normal train, but in a hyperloop, if I remember right, it would take, I believe it's between 1.5 to 2 hours. And the speed, and this is in kilometers, I believe was 1,200 to 1,400 kilometers per hour. And that is fast considering. And it's, but it's so far had even been built yet. They're only being proposed as an idea. They have been testing several models. They even had competition for many universities to build their own version. So if this will happen, it will be a it will lower the travel speed, travel costs, and all that. I mean, like building a bridge. Is it possible to build a bridge between, let's say, Asia and US? Yes, it is. The Bering Strait. Oh, I got it. You can actually build a bridge, but building a bridge from, say, say, from US to Europe, not it, it's not practical because the distance and the storms and also some of the depths of the ocean, of the Atlantic Ocean, is really deep. So yeah, it's not like they would be building an under tunnel under thing like a tunnel between England and France, some example, but building that type of tunnel all the way from, say, from England all the way to US. It's, I mean, if it would be, but the cost would be astronomical. The price would be so huge, and but I don't believe it would have taken years because I also use this AI website just to be asking the program if, okay, I mean, like if they would been building a canal between along the border, the Canadian border, like 800 feet long, it would have taken up to okay, that was just roughly estimation, I think around 2,000 years to build. I mean, it's many, considering how the cost and the different terrains and all that. So, like 2,000 years in order to build just one canal that far. I mean, if they will build, okay, if you build an 800 feet wide canal between along the Canadian border, and it's the same thing as the one that for the Mexican border, would that make the US an island? No. I also asked that to the same program just to be in case, just curious to see if that would even, if that would have been enough to count as an island. But no, it wouldn't. I mean, considering, oh, Cody's back. Let me guess, Wi-Fi problem. Yeah, probably puzzle. But I mean, considering how the US itself, it has many climates that have different environments. You have deserts, you have many mountains ranges, you have a, kind of like a almost rainforest. If I remember, I heard that there even is monkeys, apes that live in on the west coast in California. There are even some reports of saying that even chimpanzees, chimps living somewhere in Florida. It's not like impossible considering it's a warm climate almost year all round, but yeah, but also at the same time, it's kind of a strange. The way would be worse if they're like gorillas living around there. Can you imagine if, like, say, if Coda lives on the inner suburbs and there's huge open forest behind his home, and one day someone like say, "I saw a gorilla in the forest," and then Coda be like, "What?" Could you imagine people like Wait, are you sure that was a gorilla and not you saw the Bigfoot? People as some description of the Bigfoot have been usually like a big gorilla, but can you imagine see an escaped gorilla or a chimp in the forest behind your home? It's like, what the? Did I say right? I mean, escape chimp and chimp. You may think a chimp is harmless. Don't make assumption because there have been reports that
Mhm.
chimp do in fact eat meat. Before then,
I
many people didn't know the fact that they eat meat, but they do.
there are unusual people and animal friend couples. And speaking of chimps, there was a chimp that reunited with a woman that raised him since he was a kid, uh, since he was a young baby. Um, there was even a man who raised three elephants for a good while. Um, even s- there's even people reuniting with 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 cheetahs that they raised, as well as lions. Um, I believe I even saw one video where this person's dog actually brought home a tiger cub that was actually a friend of this dog.
Wow. Speaking of, I
Um,
even saw the, I even saw
also,
this.
was you? I think could we possibly do some Heyman during this?
Yeah, why not?
I
But
have
I
one.
also because I saw this couple, this young, um, this woman who found, or this person found a cat. Or no, wait, the person actually had a cat and had literally even had a litter recent at the time. Um, um, and this cat, the mother cat, found this abandoned kitten, and it didn't look like anything. But then suddenly, the mother just abandoned it. So the owner raised took care of it. But the thing is, as she took care of this kitten, after more than a couple of months or so, she started to notice it wasn't even an ordinary cat. It grew larger and larger, and eventually she figured out what it was. It was a lynx.
Mm.
And that is another thing. Get this. I saw this one video about
Um,
a couple that lived on the countryside. They had a dog. As I see it, this couple actually owns. I think it was a golden retriever. And one morning, as the owner opens the front door, and get this, their golden retriever standing by the front door. What the? This is weird. Damn it! Stay off. My dad heard over the clock radio next to my computer and it suddenly went off. But like I said, this couple had their golden retriever actually brought home a friend. Guess what they brought home? It was not a raccoon, not a dog. It wasn't even a cat. Not even a sheep. It had brought home a black calf. I mean, literally had brought home a baby cow. And she was like, and this, get this, this is not the first time their dog had brought home something to the home. I mean, I'd rather saw a black cow, a baby cow, by front door. Okay, I was like, how did this cat, this dog, even bring this baby cow home in the first place? Usually they're in their pasture, but they're surrounded by fence.
could have been separated from its mom.
True, but still, can you even imagine you open a door and you have a dog and standing next to it is a baby cow? It's like, what the? And especially if it's just only one time, but this dog had this behavior of bringing home any type of animals. But I also saw this a man. I think he could have like been around my age, like 30 to 35. Wait, you say R? Let's see. There's only one R. But this young man, he literally found. Oh wait. He found this cub uh, in the snow. This was actually in Canada. And only thing is, he took it home. I mean, there was like he first believed as it was a dog pup, but I saw it first thought it was a cub, but it was a pup. But it wasn't even a dog. He noticed that eventually, as the pup was growing larger and larger and was getting older, and it turned out it was a wolf, like a gray wolf. But he didn't even release it in the wild. He kept it as a pet. And that is the thing, you should be really careful about wild animals. There've already been one couple that actually even had a chimp as a pet. But eventually, one day, it attacked one of those owners and bite her in the face and disfigure her so badly. But the chimp was had to be put down. I mean, okay, just imagine that is just for the chimp. Then what about a gorilla? Way bigger. Or even, in fact, it is perfectly legal in the US to have tigers, lions as a pet. I think, well, that is insane. How can that even be perfectly legal in the US for having a lion? I mean, a full grown male or female lion as a pet. That,
Spears, before you continue, I call the letter E.
okay, you say E. Um, so yeah, if you were in Sweden, it would not be legal whatsoever. Since I actually saw this story, oh, I got it. Probably this connection again. But this couple, this man, actually even owned uh, this caiman, like a crocodile, and they aren't allowed even to have a pet, but as long as there's a special permit for that. And he literally took one for even for walk, but he had duct tape in his mouth so they would even be able to reach any smaller animals like a dog or a cat or something. They are free ease.
Hmm.
And another thing is in Sweden, if you manage to find a stray fox, wolf, or anything in the wild, you can't even take them home to raise them as a pet. Not even not even hawks, falcons, eagles, you name it. Not even owls. You can even own them as a pet. That is against the law. But other certain animals like ravens, crows, no, that's something you can own as a pet in Sweden. The, I mean, um, oh, come on, really? Since crows and ravens are kind of basically the similar as vultures. I mean, they're basically the same thing. They usually eat dead animals, and so they're like the reference to the closest to as African vultures. But you don't think, but ravens, they are really smart. I mean, really smart. They can learn. They can learn to mimic words. I saw this one, I believe it's a Russian man who plays a flute and has a raven or a crow next to him and sings. That's impressive. I mean,
Um,
parrots.
I call the letter S.
And parrots, I saw this parrot, or no, wait, it wasn't even a parrot, but it was similar to that, and it literally sang or at least whistled the lyrics to the Pirates of the Caribbean and even the Star Wars Imperial March. I was like, whoa, that's impressive. But there is one bird, little parrot, known as gray Yako. They are one of the most impressive. 3S. They they can actually even mimic sounds like let's see here. I think they can usually even mimic sounds like I've seen this one particular gray Yako sending above his owner using and mimic this calling, a phone calling, and he's like, "Hello," and he calls. And then he thinks it is this actual phone that's ringing. This is his parrot that's making the sound. Oh man, parrots.
Excuse
They're
me.
not. They are really impressive animal, but people really can take them for granted. They're stupid, but don't think that for assumption. Parrots are really smart, no matter what most people say they are, but and they can live for a long time also. Like really. Hang on, Cody. I'm actually working on it. Moment. Just checking. Uh, I believe. Let's see. Wait. Oh, dang it. Whoops. So fine, Cody. Game guy didn't join in today since well, pretty much a bad storm going on where he lives. Well, it's where his dad lives. His dad still lives in New Hampshire, but his mom not in the same state anymore. If we would have played, say, randomizer, that had a problem. We had to be waiting for him for an hour because that is how far his mom lives from his dad. That would take an hour to drive. But I don't think his dad would even be stupid enough to drive in this, well, in that weather. I would even do it. Let's see, one, two, four L's. Yeah, so, but like I said, parrots is a smart animal. They can
Um,
live, I think, around 70 or 80, 90 years or so.
let's try another vowel in A.
You say A?
Yep.
Let's go see. There is actually one parrot. Okay, this is based from what you're saying from or reading, but this particular parrot is said to be owned, at least once owned by Winston Churchill. And yeah, that's the old age there is. Oh, whoops. X forgot to put it. S. Oh man, wait, hey there.
Hey Cody, have you heard of this stuff before?
Once, he said. I haven't
It
though.
it is good stuff. I actually tried it's the Arizona fruit juice cocktail stuff. They actually have had they actually have a tropical chillzicle flavor, and get this, it is a bomb pop flavor, like the red, white, and blue ice cream bomb pop flavor. It has a grapefruit aftertaste to it.
Hmm. Is that like a pop soda or an energy drink?
It's kind of no, it's a fruit juice cocktail. There's no soda in it.
Hmm.
And Cody, I will tell you this: I love Arizona's peach mango, the watermelon, and the fruit punch flavor.
And I have blackberry Dr Pepper.
I actually the last time I tried Dr. Pepper was I think it was like over a week ago. Um, well, I mean the last time I tried was I was like I just bought it on the way home from the store. It was a bit one day. I was like, but I'm not much a fan of Dr. Pepper. It's a bit flat in the flavor, and and they ask me, how about root beer? That's the thing. Never tried it. It just not much that they sold in average stores over here. I mean, they selling them, been selling here, but just I never seen them though. And some other like, have you, Cody? Have you ever tried Lay's chips? Same here, and I have tried them with this. They're pretty good. Different flavors. Um, Sour cream, onions to any flip in any potato chips. Mm-mm-mm. I prefer sour cream onion. Mm-mm. They're pretty good. Though there is one Doritos. Never tried those. None. But they do selling here. Nachos. Nacho. Nope. Never tried that either. Never. Nacho cheese. Don't think I ever tried that. The closest thing to like okay, what about do you like cheddar cheese on popcorn, chips, or anything as a flavor? Same here. I tried it at least once with popcorn with cheddar cheese. It's according to me, in my opinion, it tastes like well, it tasted like really much well foot sweat. I'm like, yeah, nope. Tried it once and never again. Okay, popcorn with caramel flavor on it. Now that is pretty good. I did burn pop some popcorn earlier, so snacks. Well, well, it was a bit of an accident. I I I actually reheated like 3 times. On the bag it said it being either from 1.5 to 3.5 minutes, depending on, from of course, the microwave. But when I opened it, there was like two. Um, they had literally a burned like almost like a lump or a clump of popcorn, like burned. I don't mind popcorn that's a little bit burned. It still has a nice flavor, but if it's complete black popcorn, yeah, they are not even that. They're not even edible. Caramel flavor, regular popcorn, I prefer that, but I had never tried butter flavored popcorn. It's only not something I even would. But caramel, they're pretty good. Chocolate covered popcorn. Now that's something I have seen before, but yeah, never tried that. Doritos, I had never actually tried Doritos, but in the closest one of the big store where I live, they are selling Doritos. I believe it was one was flaming hot flavor spice. Yeah, I might actually buy Doritos sometime next soon enough. Try at least one of them. At least once. Personally, I'm not much a fan of uh, spicy odd stuff. There are no use in this. So but yeah, I mean, it's not like I haven't followed much trying Doritos. Reese's, yeah, that's another thing. I don't even like them. Tried once, but never again. It's just their peanuts. Yeah, I'm not much a fan of peanuts. Peanut butter, same thing. Though haven't tried peanut butter, but as I did this the American tradition peanut butter jelly sandwich, like a double one. I am sorry to be on many Americans, on my viewers, but peanut butter jelly sandwich, it's one thing I don't want to eat since I don't even like peanuts at all. I mean, it's just no. I mean, at least I tried Reese Pieces once just to see what it's like. I've seen it many times in many movies, TV shows, and in fact, I know for a fact it's very one of the popular candies there, candy bars in the US. So I was like, why not? Let's try it once. So if I got it sent it to me in a package, I was like, let's try it. But my mom, for some reason, she liked it. Though other candy bars like Hershey's, they can't be bought over here, but they can be sold, or at least bought it from online, perhaps. That is something I do like. Though, like many chocolate bars, they are always only that's been sold limited edition of or seasonal, like say for Valentine's Day, Christmas. Those are pretty good otherwise. Milky Way, yeah, no, those I don't have to be sent over since I they are sold here and they're good. Three Musketeers, I know they are being sold in Sweden, but I never came across any of those in any of the stores. Though I know for a fact that this is a Swedish brand of chocolate bar, and they do have at least one of them with Oreo cookies. And I don't, I'm not equally intended to try that since I don't even like the original Oreos. I tried them at least once, but no. Reese cups, I really don't know about that, though, Cody, at least my opinion. If it is the same flavor as the Reese's Pieces, then no. Since there is peanut butter, no, no. I do like many types of chocolate bars. Sweden actually one brand, but they have many types of in it. Some I did send two last year around Christmas to Figotis for her and her mother. That was a limited edition. That was with strawberry flavor. And my dad even bought similar but orange flavor, also limited edition. They're pretty good. Chocolate that with orange, oh, no, that works. That works perfectly. Chocolate with orange pieces or anything. I mean, since orange is a sweet flavor fruit, it works perfectly. Same thing as marshmallows in chocolate bars. I don't think I've seen at least the Swedish brand with marshmallows in, but last time I actually had marshmallows, okay, I never had marshmallows in hot cocoa like those mini ones. Never had that before. And I mean, I don't dislike marshmallows, but the last time I had marshmallow, wow, I think it was more than a year ago. 5 years, perhaps. Is that the thing? Is I've seen that there are like those plastic bag with a big marshmallows in it. If I can only eat, I can will probably eat maybe 3 or 4 of those before I start feeling sick. It's just like too much sugar. You say pea, no peas. But there are many candy bars that Sweden had over the years, but many of them has not even been seen ever again. Every weekend for many years, they had this big plastic bag for that's literally been that kids can just go into buy. Um, um, there is even candy that's also shaped as fried eggs, mushrooms, frogs, um, even Coke bottles with the lyric even flavored with Coke, or at least similar to that. What else? Well, there are many types of those type of candy bars. Oh, there is even one that's even shaped as cars. Now there's even those with street signs like stop signs. Five Goddess it even did have one of those the one especially the one that was shaped as cars. I think it was for I think it was for Christmas, if I remember right, one year. But she wasn't that much a fan of those. I was like, how dare you? Ah, not really. Only one eye. But there is, of course, also many other types of candy bars, candy that's. There is actually one type of candy I don't mind. It is kind of like a marshmallow, but it's shaped as a banana. There are two types. One is under covered in chocolate, another one just as normal, and not bad at all. There is even gelatin candy shaped as rats, and they're pretty good. They're more like fruit flavored. Even one time, I even had a lollipop in my drawer for about 2 years, and I actually ate it, and was still wrapped in this wrapper though. And candy can last for pretty much a long time. 2 T's. I'm not sure if you know this though. If you know what it is, can Cody, you can probably just say it. But yeah, there have been so many candy bars over the years in Sweden that's had even been seen for years and years. But there are some. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I dropped the popcorn all the floor. Great, just fantastic. Oh boy, oh boy. I really need to take a vacuum cleaner, but nah, I can't even do that. It's just like middle of the night, almost. But you say M. No worries, Cody. It happens. Accident happens. Sure. Yep. There are three M's. How much I can't. Oh, man. Do I really have to? Used to do this. Oh man. I wonder what that piece ended up. A small strainer spring to a pencil. Very right. No matter what, the pencil is useless anyways. A ball pen without the spring. I think it is not gonna be useless anyways. Yep, basically useless. Usually from Hallmark, but yeah, it's Timeless Tales from Hallmark. I haven't even seen any videos on Hallmark in like many years. And that channel, have you seen the movie Grease, Cody? You never seen the musical movie Grease? The Grease? That one from the supposed to be the 50s. You never saw that? Oh man, you really need to see it. It's pretty good though. But yeah, it's basically the female actor Olivia, who is the actress who played one of the roles. She is uh, the host for Timeless Tales from Hallmark. It's if I remember, it focuses on stories on the Brother Grimms, like um, Rumpelstiltskin, and some others. I say A.
Nice of you guys to weigh up for me. I was helping my family. Is there an S? Yes.
Yes, S is a snake. Mr. Ding Dong. Oh man, that's stupid. You may have to miss out one thing though, Malachi. I dropped a bowl with popcorn on the floor. And still popcorn there. Yeah. And it will stay on the floor till after the stream. It's like, as long as it's just on popcorn, nothing else that's sticky, I'm fine with that. You know what? I say K. Because I wanted to say have my name as A as Diablo, like Ask the Diablo. So I just ask Diablo. Cody, have you seen on an anime convention? That'd be cool. Like those big ones, like it's on San Diego Comic Con, something like that. I've seen those. They're really amazing. But Cody, have you seen any of the recent um, Minecraft movie? Is that something you want to watch? Is that a movie you want to gonna? Are you planning to watch? I'm not even going to, since I haven't played the game. And you see, I learned something that the screen in the trailer, where you see those trees and all the landscape, the grass, that is not green. That is not made of a green screen. They literally made that from scratch. I was like, whoa, that impressive. But yeah, I hadn't even seen that movie though, and not even going to. And Disney, they made a huge fiasco of a recent movie, Snow White. That event went to complete, yeah, that went to complete, well, excuse my French, but it was end up being a complete bullshit. I mean, it is frankly saying it, but it beep Optimus Prime. That's pretty cool. The recent Snow White movie, the actress who plays Snow White, she in an interview, she said that she had only seen the original movie just once, but never even again because it scared her. Then, okay, if she played, if she watched the Snow White, the original from the 30s, then and if this just got scared from the movie, then
I
why
say I say E, Cody.
and then why would she even apply for this play a role as Snow White? And she even said that the original movie wasn't much for love, more like the prince was stalking her in the original Snow White, but there is a plot twist in that. He only appeared just twice in the whole movie. Um, I say R. And I actually saw this one short video on YouTube about the original Snow White. Um, this guy who made this video. He's he's that made. You can say your little first.
Um. Uh. A. No, no, that was a recall. Hold on a minute. Hold on. O.
KO. But this guy, he said that Snow White, in according to his theory, is that she is dead, and that the castle in the end of the movie, when they're in the clouds and it's golden, is supposed to represent heaven, not actual freedom of right. I would say that this person said, but if that would have been the case, that would be like really dark, like in for a Disney movie, especially the first one. You know what? I said T. Have you guys ever seen or heard Asterix and Obelix? Okay, what about you, Kamalaka? Have you ever heard of?
Mm, what?
Have you seen or heard Asterix and Obelix?
Not really. Um, I
Shocking.
see. I see F.
You say F. I say E. Malachi and Cody,
Um,
have you?
you said E, but there is a way in E.
Oh, I mean I. Sorry, I. Have you guys seen um, Darth Vader's original voice before they added James Earl Jones in it? Oh, you probably should. It's a huge difference in the voice acting because the guy who was playing is Darth Vader is Scottish, and and before they made their first movie, they didn't have any idea how Darth Vader would even sound like. Oh, get this! I saw this one is supposed to be in close to a type of
Uh,
Jeopardy.
N.
There was this one series. I know there was like a um, it was like the type of Jeopardy series, and the question were who were Luke Skywalker's father, and one of there was a family show, and one family in the middle, the father said Anakin Skywalker, but the host said wrong answer. When the family to the right said Darth Vader, they had the right answer. But technically, and afterwards, they're seeing how fans react. I mean, the right answer isn't even Darth Vader. It's Anakin Skywalker. Darth Vader
But
is just a new name. It's just weird. I don't understand how that's even. I mean, I understand fans' reaction to that. Seriously, as a loyal Star Wars fan, it is. But yep, it's my turn.
are you? Uh, uh, it is your turn.
Okay,
I'm stumped.
I say D. You were saying that, Monica?
Uh, is there an hold on. Is there an L? Um, I'm gonna take a shot at this, Cody. Funky blue French fries. Okay.
Never
Now,
heard of it.
okay. I got one. I got one. Let me see here. It's going to be a while for me to set. Actually, okay.
A landmark. Well, Cody can start.
Uh, okay. Come on. Only two. Only two E's.
I will say A. I'm surprised that Cool was even been here. I understand Malachite is a free game guy, but Cool? Well, I wasn't expecting that. How about we do perhaps one or two more each? Then we
Yeah, two
end the
more.
stream there.
Two more
Yeah.
each.
Luckily for me,
Are we going to do any actual letters? Because you guys are going for the vowels immediately.
I go with T. Cool. Cody, did you ever saw any of the Lord of the Rings movies? Is it S? Just make sure that I put that there. Oh, dude, you really should. They are pretty good movies, though. They're thinking of making a remake for 2026, not the two first ones. If that's gonna be though, but I hope not. Really, I don't hope for that. I had to say, oh, by God, his Wi-Fi is probably a pain in the butt. I say B. Oh, wrong button. Okay, I thought the user's Wi-Fi connection. It would have been a pain in the butt. Is it R? Well, I'm not surprised that I have only a few hours left of this month for StreamYard. Okay, what letter should I take? T-E-I-A-R-B-S is taken. BS. Wow, that's just something. What the heck? I think O. Is it L? Okay.
Put that at the end after the O.
Okay, then I will say I said D.
No D.
Ah, damn.
Take a screenshot that and send it into the group, Swedish. If you think you know what it is, Chloe, then type it out if you need to. Hmm. Also, mm,
Excuse me. Hmm. Ooh. I could probably use this as on my next Eggman. Just put it up there. It's okay. He said K. Is it my turn?
yeah, it's your turn.
Oh dang! I can't put E there since they're taken. Ooh. You know what? This C. Cody, have you seen the most recent Pokemon series, Horizon? Well, it's gonna actually be a new series in this new season of it's called Mega Voltage. It's involving of Roy traveling around in Kalos region.
There it is, by the way.
Blackstone Glacier.
Yeah, it's a glacier in Alaska. Um, a famous surveyor named Mendenhall named this glacier after a miner who was carrying mail from Cook Inlet to Whittier, Whittier, in 1896, but disappeared in a snowstorm and was never seen again.
Wow. Uh, about that. About Alaska. I have to ask one thing. Since you guys know that Trump changed the
Um,
names of many different places,
what's the category?
oh, that Trump changed the names of different character places, like Gulf of Mexico
Is
to
there
not
an
Gulf of
O?
America. Oh, nope,
Yep.
no O's.
Good.
Um, but he did change Mount Denali to Mount McKinley after the president. What is your guys' honest opinion about it? Is it A1A? But again, Market, what is your opinion of that Trump changed from Mount Denali to Mount McKinley? What's your opinion about it?
I mean, honestly, I don't see any way, any mean or any stupid ass reason to change any place's name, even if it is a mountain, because after it's been named, there's no reason why it should ever be changed at all.
This is like the same thing as for um, Gulf of Mexico. I mean, the name had been Gulf of Mexico for more than 100 years or so, and now it's known as Gulf of America. I mean, if you look on Google Maps, it says Gulf of America, but underscore Gulf of Mexico. Many people are still calling it Gulf of Mexico despite that. I mean, it's not like illegal to still calling it Gulf of Mexico despite that it is the name. But then, if you think about it, in the Middle East, there is one another area called uh, the Persian Gulf of Persia. Same thing. That name, Gulf of Persia, have been around for more than 1,000 years. But the country itself, the kingdom or the land known as Persia, no longer exists, which is now the modern day Iraq. But the name of the outside world is known as Gulf of Persia. But in the Middle East, there is known as the Gulf of uh, what's it called again? Gulf of the Arab, something like that. So in the Middle East, in if you were convert the English to the Arabic language, it's no longer called Gulf of Persia. But for they have that name have been around for more than 1,000 years. It's known as Gulf of Persia. But Trump though, he changed the name from Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. But people would still call it Gulf of Mexico despite that. I mean, it is a name that many people is familiar with. I mean, even if like a pilot flying over the area saying, now we're flying over Gulf of, if anyone does like, isn't like a law saying that you have to saying it Gulf of Mexico or America. I think you can still call it, now we are flying over Gulf of Mexico and we'll be arriving in Florida within a few hours. I mean, isn't like the anything anyone can say against that. I mean, if there's like if Trump made it's illegal to mention the name Gulf of Mexico. I mean, I
Um,
was like,
is there
I was
is there an I?
and I, oh boy, ooh, I. Let's go see. But like I said, it's I really don't understand why Trump would even want to change names of different places, like Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, Mount Denali to Mount McKinley. Okay, I understand if he weren't honored the president, a former president by name. It's I mean it's honorable to that, but doing it, it's just it's just a bit strange. What's next? Fort Knox to I don't know Fort America. if that would happen, many people would definitely be against that. I can guarantee you it. You said E. Let's see, just in case. No E's. Or I. Or E. Cody, did you grow up with watching Sesame Street? With Big Bird? Yeah. I Malak had told us that Trump, no, not Trump, but Elon Musk, he wanted to cancel, he wanted to make stop Sesame Street to being broadcasted in the US because, according to him, it has anti-American, uh, not value at all. It's like propaganda or something. Well, technically, he could make this stop being broadcast in the US, but he can't ban it entirely because it's not American program. It's a British. So even if he would broadcast it, make sure that broadcast in the US being stopped, but he can't do anything about the actual broadcasting about in the UK because he is, first of all, not citizen in the UK, and he has no influence at all. He may be the richest man on earth, but no matter how many money he would pay Sesame Street to change some of those values, and or at least demand that they put the changes in some of the things that what he called him it's was against American culture. I'm like, that's just insane. I mean, what will be next?
Cody called another letter.
So it's like, what will be next? They were against, say, Mario also be banned in the US. I'm like, if that happened, he said E. It's your turn.
Uh, is there an M?
Oh boy. Come on, seriously. Just in case. Two M's.
Spears, I
Is
didn't
it?
hear you say if there were any E's, but because I didn't see any in the puzzle. That's why I asked.
No, there are no E's. Is it N? Is it M and N? Let's see. No N's. This is actually a show that was broadcast on TV 1993, 1994. So this was way before even Malachi was even born.
There
It's an
should
interesting
have
series.
been. You say it's a character.
Nope, no ends to this one. But also the hit the actually it's actually name of a show, but the second word is the name of the character, but the whole two words is the for a whole series. Mm. There are no ends in this one. Whoops. Wrong one. There we go. Well, that's all we can do because we always hope the best for that. Let's pray best of luck. Well, it's lottery is tricky. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you don't win at all. Sometimes you win, but not much. I had I haven't pretty much any lotteries. I am pretty much giving up on that. Don't win much at all. All right, it's your turn. So you know. Whoa, 5.17 million. Wow, that's a lot. A lot of money. Well, chances for Ash to be returning is slim to none. Unfortunately, I don't think he's never going back as a main character in the series. I don't think so. I don't think, no matter how many people are signing for petition for Pokemon Company to bring him back, I don't think it's true. But in my opinion, I don't think they're going to bring him back as a main character. But maybe he will be a recurring character, maybe, or perhaps only being seen in the background somewhere. As the newest Pokemon series is gonna be wrapping up Halloween now in shortly, where uh, the main leader of the Racing Ball Tackles, Freya, he and his Charizard unfortunately vanished from the machine. That turns out the founder of the Explorers, Gibeon, um, and he turns out he is over 100 years old, but he hasn't changed much. And another one, Lucius, the same ancient adventurer, also is he was still alive, but surrounded in those pink crystal. And after Terabacos purified and made all those crystals vanish, both him and Gibeon phase away, like they are just gone. They just cease to exist. Basically, they die. So, in the novel series that's going to be in the new continue of the series, Mega Voltage, Roy will eventually can he travel to Kalos region, training, and also during his travel he had captured. Okay, I don't know if it is Pokemon was fully evolved or if he evolved at some point, but he has a Lucario, a shiny Lucario. I was like, not that. It's just cool. And he even has a mega ring around his or bracelet. So he can mega evolve his Lucario. And that is just going to be interesting to see. I hadn't even seen most of this current episode yet, since most of them were
G.
still in Japanese. You said G. Let's see. Since most of those episodes were still much in Japanese. Only one G.
My Max.
Hmm?
My Max.
Yep, Mighty Max was the right.
Chloe, if it's all right with you, can I take a turn? Because I do have a puzzle, but a few friends of mine are streaming. I want to try and be done so I can join them. Okay. Okay. Uh, damn. Oh, you come on. Do that to me. That's real stupid of you. Um. Where are you? Where'd you go? Hold on, man. Hold on, man.
Are you having dinner?
Not really. Hold on, let me get a category in.
You say, oh, well, let's wait to see how many O's there are in this one.
Only 2 O's.
I say G, as in go.
Only 1 G.
Oh, G.
You say R, there are 2 R's. Your turn,
I say,
Swish. He said
I
R.
say,
He said R.
I say, I say B. Borg Diablo. Now I'm Borg from Star Trek.
Two B's. Four T's, Cody.
Dude, you are really late. Like 2 hours and 40 minutes late, Mr. Furball.
I know I'm late, but hi. How you doing?
Where the heck have you been?
Oh, I've been eating Creole and going to the cafe with my mother.
You're also
Oh, God.
echoing.
Wait, hang on.
Not again.
Wait. Nope, it's done.
Hello, hello.
I fixed it.
Okay. What? Kovu, look at this real quick. What?
Did you
Is that a
freeze?
Beyblade? Wait, is that what they
Yep.
call Beyblade?
Yeah, the Beyblade.
Oh, I never had it before.
Swedish,
But
what's your letter?
but I did once had a wait. What do they call? Bakugan.
Oh, those. Never had it before myself. I say I. Sorry, I. Trouble. It's gonna be a millionaire after this.
There are 5 eyes.
Malika, it's gonna be
That's what we're doing.
It's gonna be a millionaire after this.
Not today.
All right.
Because I'm going to be joining a stream tonight in the GSC server, and we are going to be playing some Duel.
Wow.
4 E's.
So, Cody, how is it going with your relationship with Spike? Swell.
Swedish. Cody called E, so what's your next letter?
I can say D.
Let me see here. 1D.
Well, better than nothing because so how's the weather at Kovo?
It's very rainy.
Well, no,
Really?
Cody.
Oh,
Well, no, Cody. I guess Cody the Darkhawk's been visiting you.
What?
I think Cody Swedish might know that joke. Remember when I first shared that Sword in the Stone gif of it raining on the tower, Castle Tower Berlin was staying in? He was putting the umbrellas on the roof.
How long ago was that?
That's the Swedish, not you.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that. I know what you mean.
Your turn.
Cool's mind is so blank.
Well,
His mind is
yeah.
so blank, it became a match game question.
Okay.
My turn.
Yes.
Dang it! Come up with a good one. Come up with a good one. Come up with a good one.
Oh shoot. I may have misplaced an E by the E's.
I say A.
Yeah, I misplaced one of the A's.
British. I see British there. But can't tell the rest.
Yeah, I misplaced the E that was right next to the S in that one word. And there are lots of A's. About 5 to be exact.
And he says H. Oh boy.
Put it before the R.
Before the R.
Jacob, we know you're an asshole.
Oh, come on.
Uh, what do you call Swedish?
Wow, okay.
Oh boy. Well, since O is taken. Wow. Well, there's these two letters I can't pick since they are not part of the English alphabet. Only my language. And you guys can't even pronounce those words. Those letters. Only I can.
Oh,
At least one thing. But glad it don't. It is not like my hangman aren't in like Russian language, especially that alphabet.
or coded
even-
language.
or like a binary like 100 10
Oh,
10
or
0.
glyph. The glyph.
Or hieroglyphs like
Waiting
symbols.
for a letter.
Yeah. Keep your skirt on, Mr. Lady Malachite.
Cole was more the lead than me.
Uh-huh.
Well,
You
just-
look more like Eggman. Anyway, let's keep going.
I do not.
Yeah.
Don't you ever call me that again.
Okay, I'm
Mm.
backing up.
All right, you should say so, Mr. Granny Koval.
Bruh.
Cole was
I'm not
more.
even old enough to be a
Co-
dad
co-
yet. Come on.
You know, Cole was an old man when his teeth fall out all at once.
They don't even fall. What are you talking about?
Oh, you know that you know that the lady, the granny from the Looney Tunes, that's Koval's wife.
No.
You mean,
I'd
I
rather
said
have
wife.
a Tweety. No, I'm kidding.
anyways, I see the letter Y. Is that your letter?
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 of them.
Nice.
Uh,
Only one L.
what else?
Cody, is there any bad weather where you live right now? Stormy weather. Right now, here is not much all. It's complete wind still. Oh man, what are you up to, Koval?
Nothing.
You're sure better. You're saying that right now, but yeah, you're up to something. Like
Oh,
really
oh my
bad.
gosh! I forgot an O. I forgot an O. I forgot an O.
You say that like I'm a schemer or something.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And I forgot an I.
You forgot your eye? Oh, jeez.
I think Malak started getting a bit senile.
No, it's
Well, and
just
it's
I'm trying to
cool.
get this done so I could join some friends for some fun, and my mind is just a little bit off track a bit. But I just added the two, the O and the I that I forgot. It's still your turn, Spish.
Ooh.
You know what? Isaac K. You
1K.
know, of all the characters from the Shrek franchise, although I don't know what the Cougar reminds me of most, there's actually one character that reminds me of more of, and it's not Puss in Boots.
The only
Okay.
two characters that Cole reminds me of are Pinocchio and Donkey.
At least one of them is correct. There's Donkey.
Wow.
Not because his face or anything, but the comedy, the humor.
Oh, okay.
Because Donkey is one of those iconic characters. I mean, if they were to remake the whole thing to remove him as a donkey, but put him as I don't know, say a bear or maybe a horse. Well, technically they made him a horse by magically in one of the movies. Oh wait, you know that movie where Donkey turned a horse, Shrek into human?
Yeah,
What if
and
the
as well as Fiona to human. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but what happened if Puss in Boots, if he got the potion, what would he turn into? A human or something else? Maybe a tiger or something? Think of it. If Donkey turned into a horse, like a stallion, and Shrek to human, so what would happen to Puss in Boots if he turned into like some? If he had the same potion, would he turn into maybe a handsome man or maybe
If
a
he did,
tiger?
if he did, then I wonder if they were made him look like a young Antonio Banderas, since that is who who voiced him.
I mean, it's a good question, though. I mean, considering that, I mean, okay, for Fiona, you know, anyway, see, though there is actually a theory that, uh, you know, from what I heard, the same guy who made the
Uh,
video of that
oh, I
is
was
a
gonna suggest you put the C before the K.
like Rock. But there is actually one theory that the dragon from, as you remember from the first movie of Shrek, is mentioned how the princess being kept in this tower. In this guys made a theory is that the dragon is the princess, not Fiona. Because in it there was a storybook showing a princess that blonde hair, not red. because Fiona is red hair, not blonde.
Yeah.
So they're assuming. So they're
I mean,
assuming they're assuming the dragon is well.
actually, I think it could have been a Pegasus because honestly, dragons are legendary creatures. So if it wanted to make it look a little more handsome, they could. And since Donkey was a horse, Pegasus would have been the only possible option since they based Shrek on fairy tale fantasy a bit.
Well, that makes sense. And you may have, if you remember, in one scene
It's also
where
your
you
turn.
have, okay, if you remember, um, let's see, the family of the bears, Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear, and they're all together in when they're in one when they are in those when the Papa Bear and the Baby Bear in each cage, where except for the Mama Bear is gone. Uh, I will take you, but I don't know where to put it.
Put it between the T and G.
But if you remember from the Shrek first movie, no,
Toddledy?
smart
What?
ass. Look my name, dude.
And there are two U's, by the way.
Wow.
Hmm. But like I said, in a movie of the Shrek first Shrek, there is a scene when we see Lord Farquaad in his room in the night when he's watching the once again on the photo of Fiona. We can see a bird fair, bear fur on the floor, and that
That
bear
a
on the head
bearskin rug.
has yeah, and that bear head had also a pink bow tie or on his head. That is the mama bear. So it turned out he killed the mama bear, turned
Uh,
into a rug. It
you,
looks like that, but
you might want to try and solve the whole thing, Cody. I don't just accept one word. That is it.
so you want to do this more,
And
Heyman, or
uh, I want to get. I will be getting go. I will be going about now, and also that highway. Um, I think it's also known as British Highway 99 in Canada, with views of the Pacific Ocean. So it's to the far west in British Columbia.
hmm.
Look it up. It is a beautiful route. Anyways, see you later. Oh, and Kovu, shave your ass with chocolate sauce.
Really funny, guy. Anyway,
Well, I'll end it here anyway. So, so how's your day otherwise been?
it's been good. Pretty, pretty easy.
All the spice of the Creole food.
Yep.
Well, I can say if anyone asks me if I tried Creole food, I can say I haven't. It just I don't know if there's any places in where I live that's serving Creole food. At least
Well,
that type of food dishes. But I mean, it's not like I know for a fact that it's very popular in the U.S. in the southern states like Orleans, among things, all places there. So yeah. Oh, up there we go. Well, today actually, I haven't done much myself. I let my parents came over for a few hours. Uh, yeah. So other than that, not much. I was supposed to start a stream at 9 p.m. from my end, but I actually went to sleep. Well, I would just lay down in my bed for just around before 8 p.m. Just lay down a bit, but I was out cold. Oh man, I woke up like gonna be almost 9:15 p.m. So the stream was a bit later than usual. Oh well, stuff will have to end it here anyways. Well, everyone, that's been fun. Even though Game Guy never even showed up since the bad weather for him made the
Yeah.
connection made being connect problem with. Even though my friendly furball or hairball showed up near the end.
Hey, at least
Next
I did
time-
show up.
Well, yeah, but next time I will have a rope around your neck, not neck, but around waist to be here way earlier.
Uh
Otherwise, we'll send Discord on your ass.
huh.
Otherwise, that or I will keep holding Skidaloo in a hostage that you will show up.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
Ooh, wait. How about if I put Scootaloo with Screwball under the love potion or love poison? Hmm? Hmm?
Mm.
Well, everyone. Anyways, has been pretty fun though. So until next time, well, see you the next time. Will be next week, maybe depends. Well, although since this is Vichavo signing off. Bye.
And don't forget, stay cobblicious.
And if you see Cool next time, just run and hide.